Hey, what's up, everyone? How you doing? Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are tuning in from. It's Mikey Wine here, aka Gundamoniumworks, and we are live. Tonight's going to be a little bit different. I finished the Quinlan row, and the Max Bataroid is behind me. You can kind of see some of the parts in the spray booth. I'm getting a primer, so I'm not going to be doing much on that project tonight. In fact, not going to be doing anything. But I have finished Quinlan row. It is completely, well, as far as I can go without the base for the diorama. But so I'll show that, and then but we're just going to be going doing some random build night tonight. So let's get started. So, it's Mikey Wine here. Mike Wine with wine. Got some vino here. I'm going to do some build night. Going to be doing the Star Wars K2SO is what I'm going to be just snapping together while we're talking. You guys can come up with the subject matters and the questions you want, and we'll make a show of it. So let's look here. We don't have anybody on right at the moment. Everybody's staying in. Eating dinner or doing whatever it is they're doing. So until we get some viewers in here, I'm going to go ahead and just start talking about the Quinlan row. The Hasegawa 172 scale Quinlan row. Let me go down to the down look here, and we'll just go down, and here it is. Now, I had posted some pictures the last couple of days with gloss and flat coat. I'm going to leave it flat coat because the gloss was really nice. It really looks nice, but with the cell shaded scheme that I'm going for and the diorama that this is eventually going to go into, I needed to make it flat coat. Plus it looks great this way too. So that's where I ended up ultimately deciding on. So the pictures the last set of pictures I posted showed one gloss, one. I tried to match them up exactly the same. So one gloss, one flat, side by side, so you can kind of see what's that. Hey, what's up, David? How you doing, man? David, my brother's in the house. So here is the finished Quinlan row with the anime cell shaded type paint scheme. I had a really big scare while I was setting up for this because I was kind of practicing holding this up to the camera and trying to get angles and stuff like that and focus right. And it literally slipped out of my hands and just slammed on the table. And for the life of me, I can't figure out where it hit because it looks like nothing got damaged. So I'm super happy with that. Anyway, so what's up, Nick? Nick's in the house. How you doing? So we're just showing off the finished cell shading scheme of the Quinlan row, and then I'm just going to do some random build because the Max Bataroid is in paint, so there's not a whole lot I can do with that tonight. I've already done most of the assembly. Hey, thanks, Nick. I've already done all the assembly on it and made my modifications and stuff like that, so it's just time to start painting. So tonight's just going to be kind of mellow. We're just going to do the Star Wars K2SO. What's up, Jason? Yeah, it is big. I know, 172 scale on this for this this power suit is pretty big. I mean, I have the original 144 Bandai, and this thing dwarfs it. In fact, I can try to grab that really quick if you guys don't mind. I've got it in the case. Let me see if I can fish it out, and we can kind of do a size comparison. Let's see, where are you? Oh, hiding way in the back. Here we go. That's what you do with the old kits. You shove them way in the back because we don't need them anymore. So, so here we go. Let me bring this over here. So we're just going to set this down on its back here. So we kind of do a comparison here. Okay, so that's 172. And here's little 144. Oh, how cute. How cute. Oh, this looks like mom and dad, actually, or mom and daughter. So here's, yeah, this is nothing but hand-painted garbage from a long ass time ago. But I painted it. This was supposed to be the green kit from, the TV series, but I went ahead and painted it in Maria's color scheme, even though it was all done with flat Tamiya paint, hand painted. It's actually not that bad, but it's in person it looks like garbage. So anyway, yeah, look at the size comparison. Pretty tiny, pretty small. But I guess for the time, it was a decent looking kit. And looking at the way this is colored, a lot of those surface features are actually included on the new Hasegawa kit, but they're just done in a different color. They're done in like a steel. So, yeah, I might actually go back over and redo the gray on top of these two, the shoulders here, because one of the things I noticed was, especially when I gloss coated it, was the gray kind of just faded away a little bit. It wasn't coming out as vibrant as I wanted. You couldn't really see the transitions of the two colors so much, so I could see that create that kind of that glare look. So I went back over it with the gray paint pens, and now I've got these like little microscopic lines. You can't really see it on camera much. Maybe if I get really close. Yeah, you can kind of see there's a little bit of a pattern. So I may go back over and just touch that up a little bit. But one of the other questions that somebody asked me this week, gotta go down for wait, what am I? Gotta go for now. Oh, might catch up with you before you're off. Okay, cool, Jason. Thanks for stopping in, man. Absolutely. Good to see you as always. So one of the questions somebody asked me this week was whether or not I was going to take this to IPMS next month. And even though this is supposed to be in a diorama that I'm building, I am going to probably take this kit as a standalone and just do it as a separate entry, which I can enter again later when I finish the diorama, because that's probably going to be close to a year maybe to finish that. So it's a lot of work, especially for the base. What else? Let's see. Oh, speaking of IPMS, that's coming at the end of April, and I've already printed out. Had an anime crush on that one. Yeah, well, strong female characters. I understand, Dave. That's true. So I printed out, actually, maybe when George gets on here, if he gets on tonight, I printed out the categories for this year's IPMS. I've also printed out my my entry forms, but I'm going to go and edit some make them look nice and edit some on a PDF and then print them out, reprint them, I should say, with nice text and stuff instead of handwriting everything. What's up, Xeon? What's up? How's it going? Mr. The Xeon Shadow in the house. So good to see everybody. I'm going to be paying quite a bit more attention to the chats, everybody tonight, because I'm just building a K2SO from Star Wars, Bandai kit, just to kill the time, because like I was telling everybody earlier that it started with me first thing tonight, that the Max Battleroid's in paint, or at least starting paint, so I don't have anything else to do with this project other than just stare at this thing all week, all night. But anyway, let's see, what was I going to say? Oh, so I'm going to take the Quaylen Row, I'm going to take the Abrams tank, I'll take the Tomahawk, and what else do I have that's going to go? But I'm trying to think what else I can take. Oh, the Super Jerry. That's going to go for sure. I got a little plaque for the Super Jerry project, and it says the mechanic on it. So there's a nice little label on it now to finish off that little vignette. So that will go as well to IPMS. The category list here, it's interesting that I don't know if all IPMS chapters do this. So you've got basically aircraft, which is 173 and smaller, all subjects, 172 single prop, turboprop, and gliders. That's a different category. Access and allied, that's A and B. So there's actually subcategories there. Then you got 172 multi-prop, turboprop, 148 multi-prop, turboprop, 132 and larger prop, turboprop, and gliders. 172 single jet, 148 single jet. So it kind of breaks everything down. Airlines, civil sport, racing, airships, and all scales. Those are all different categories. Biplanes, vintage, all types. 172 and smaller, 171 and larger. And then there's miscellaneous scratch builds. VAX and conversions. I'm not sure what VAX means. Maybe it'll come to me, or someone can elaborate on that. Then you get into military vehicles and weapons. So it looks like I'm not even sure how to decide. This is what I'm going to have to ask somebody when I get there. So when I fill out the entry forms, I'm not even sure what category, especially for the Abrams, because you've got 135 and larger, closed top through 1945, and then Access Allied A and B, and then you got 135 larger, closed top after 1945. But does that mean tanks are included in that closed top? What's up, Julius? Does that mean like tanks are included in that? Is that a closed top vehicle? I mean, I guess it is. Or does that mean something else? So then you got 135 and larger open top, AFV, half tracks, and self-propelled guns. And then let's see, 136 and smaller, all eras, all subjects. So some of these they're kind of, this is the problem I had last year too, was that some of these categories they're a little vague unless you know this, you really know the subject matter. It's kind of hard to tell, like, okay, which category do I go in? So I'll probably end up putting the tank in, which looks like to me after 1945 would be 202, 135 and larger closed top. Because after that you get into figures, and there's really that's all it is for military armor. So there's no specific armor category. So figures, mounted or dismounted are a single figure. Two figures on the base are diorama. So at least they specified that. Because if you put two figures on, and that's another thing, because my tank has two crew members riding on top. So does that mean that's considered a vignette or diorama? These are things I'm going to have to ask them when I get there. So ships, not worried about that. Automotive, not worried about that. Space fact. Okay, here's where this is another thing gets a little bit vague. So you got space fact, experimental sci-fi vehicles, all scales. Aerospace, test beds, and record breakers, those are, modern day aerospace type stuff. Sci-fi vehicles, sci-fi figures and creatures. Okay, and then you got diorama vignette, all scales. So, is the Super Jerry considered a vignette? I think it is. So we'll see. One thing they did break down quite nicely is the Gundam categories, which is kind of surprising. So I wish George was in here so we could talk about this, because he's really into expanding the realm of Gundam and into the IPMS community. And it seems like it took a few years for them to get it up here, but it seems like now they're embracing it quite a bit more. So what you have is unmodified 144 scale, custom 144 scale, and then you've got unmodified 1/100 and custom 1/100. So unmodified would be anything out of box. You're not adding different loadouts. You're not adding armor plating. You're not doing any. I think scribing your own panel lines is probably fine and acceptable as unmodified. I think when you consider something that's modified, it's considerable modification or something done to the appearance to make it look different, quite a bit different than what's considered out of box. Then you got custom 1/100. Okay, I already said that. And then all other Gunpla, which would be your PG scale, the 160 scale stuff, and then one for straight up mecha. Anything else mecha. Then you get into, now it's got the distinctions underneath that. So unmodified, this is what I was just talking about. I didn't see this before. So unmodified entries must be presented as a base model, basic construction regardless of finish. No extra customization like scribing. So I was wrong. Scribing is considered modified to this to IPMS here. Plow plate, kit bashing, painting, and decal work is acceptable. So you can change a paint scheme and you can use aftermarket decals, but anything that's the littlest part of scribing is going to be considered modified at that point. And custom must show some form of customization, whether it be scribing, plow plates, scratch building, resin conversion parts, and or kit bashing, etc. Giving a new color scheme alone will not count for this category. For best judging results, it is encouraged that your entry has its original manual. Yeah, we see that a lot, and I even had last year there was a guy that asked why. He was like, I don't understand why people put the book down. And I had to explain to him that it was so the judges can see that because it was out of box entries. So the judges can see that nothing has been done to modify it to make it fall into that other modified category. They wanted their stuff judged in out of box or unmodified. So scale, that's all the same for both 1/100, 144. And then other Gunpla is anything that does not already have a assigned category. All entries are judged based off quality, finish, and presentation. So let's see, special awards. We don't even talk about that so much. But anyway, so that's what's coming up. Coming up next month, and we'll be doing as much full coverage on that. What's up? See Jezzy, what's happening? Is this Jessica? Or is that somebody? Is that a different Jezzy that I'm thinking of? See Jezzy. I don't know. I could be wrong. How you doing? Nice to have you in. This is the first time I've seen you here. Welcome. Welcome. So let me give one last look here. We'll go close up and we'll give one last look to the Quedlin row as best I can with this larger frame. Everything's in takes up the entire screen. I'm only looking at a portion of the screen because I can't go full screen with it and I can't see everybody's comments that way as easily. So I've got a small, probably 8x5, maybe 9x6 or whatever size screen. Everything else is control panels like that. So, but anyway, I was going for a anime cell shaded type paint scheme, and this is what the end result was. It will be left in this flat finish. I was considering doing it gloss, and at first I had to gloss everything so I could finish these ridiculously fragile decals. It was so bad. And I've talked to several builders that have done this kit, and everybody has had the same exact problem with these. So yeah, a little bit more there on the back of the legs. Some more of that shading effects. It looks a little bit more, the contrast on camera is quite a bit brighter than it is. A little bit subdued more in person. So keep that in mind. So I'm going to take this off the bench, and then we'll start cracking away on the K2SO, which is, I actually started it a build ago, a couple of shows ago last year sometime. It was one of those other nights where something was in paint, and I was building this in kind of the same way I pulled this kit out of the backlog here to start building. So just to have something going on screen while we're talking. So anyway, here's what we got so far. Whoop. Forget how far away the camera is. It's kind of dark. Let's see if it looks better with the green background. A little bit better. So I got the head. Nice movement, nice articulation there. Not a lot, but it's enough to where you can get a nice, good pose later on in the torso. Torso's got a ball joint, ball joints in the shoulders and ball joints on the waist, and also little ball joints in the hips. So it's really quite posable, I think, or at least there's quite a bit of articulation there. So anyway, we're working on the legs. So I'm just going to start cracking away. Anybody got any questions, comments, whatever? We'll see if George pops in, and we'll talk about IPMS while we're doing this. But anyway, cheers, everybody. We'll see if Facebook flags that because I threw up a wine glass, for fuck's sake. They seem to enjoy flagging my content for ridiculous things. It hasn't been lately, but which is good. Ever since my last little incident, let's call it, with them, I had to get rid of 2 videos. So I'm just going to start trimming pieces off, and you guys pop in anytime you want. Tell me what you're building, and we can talk about it. This is a participation type broadcast where it's going to be a lot more interesting if you participate. If not, it's going to be me talking. Jezzy. Oh, nice to see you, Jezzy. Where are you coming from? Or where are you tuning in from, Jezzy? See, Jezzy. B6. Oh, there they are. If you are interested in the tools and supplies that I use every day on this broadcast, you can check out my Amazon shop. The link is in the description. I don't make very much off of that. Yes, it is. They are sponsored items that are on there. Let's put it this way. I think I made $1.10 in December. So it's really not that big a deal. I mean, I don't even know what the percentages are, to be honest. It has to be items that they consider eligible, I guess. So looking for the 7. There it is. I cut these runners in half for whatever reason. I don't remember why I did that, but so half of them are on one side and half are on the other. So what's everybody doing right now? Anybody building anything while they're listening? Snapping something together? Are you at work? What are you doing? So that's one thing God hands are really good for, is making very clean cuts when it comes to cutting off the nubs. But I guess you have to kind of be careful because you can overdo it. If you get too close, they'll slice right through something you don't want. You know what I mean? All right. So let's put some parts together here. And right now, I'm not even gluing anything. Bandai's pretty good about their kits. I don't need to glue anything. I'm just... Oops, I'm going to take my nubs off this. I'm just snapping it because I'm going to want to paint this later. So I want to be able to take it apart, which will be interesting in itself because there's a lot of really tiny parts in this kit. Some of them are like antennas and stuff. They're pretty small. that's the way it goes. Okay. Thought I had it backwards. My hands aren't made for these tiny parts. Well, George would tell you. He's like, oh yeah, he loves building small scale stuff. I mean, I could probably actually glue these legs together because obviously these pieces aren't going to come apart. But man, there's a pretty sizable seam that would have to be addressed all the way down. But for now, we're going to leave it alone. I'm just going to sand the nubs only and leave it alone. Sorry, I had a screaming baby. What kit are you snapping? This is the Bandai K2SO, Star Wars K2SO. Oh, try to get the glare off. There it goes. I started it a broadcast ago sometime last year. It was one of those times again where what I was currently working on was probably in the paint booth, or something was going on with it where I couldn't really do anything on camera. So I pulled this out of the backlog just so we'd have something to talk about. So what I have done is the torso and the hips. That's about it. And the shoulders here. These have little ball joints inside, so the whole shoulder piece swivels around quite nicely, actually. So I'm just building the right leg right at the moment. Screaming baby. I feel your pain, but I will point and laugh because I'm way past those days. Now it's just about grandkids. So if any of those, I have one. When I finally meet her, she's in California. I have not met her yet. But when I do, it's nice to know that, yeah, they might be screaming babies, but you get to give them back. Whereas when they're your own, you just have to deal with it. And, that's never any fun. Okay. Well, that was a quick check. I love these Bandai Star Wars instruction manuals, because they'll say put this together, blah blah blah, and then check. So you got okay, did I do it right? And you check your part. Yes, we did it right. And that's it. Then we move on. So wait a minute. B7. Is that this one? No, that's A. This is the B. There's only 2 runners on this thing. No, that was what number is that? Oh, 37. What the hell am I doing? Okay, I was looking at the right one. I just had the wrong number in my head. So with any luck, we'll get these legs together, depending on how complicated they are. And have a freestanding model at that point. Well, the arms aren't done either, but at least you might have some legs. And one of the things that I was thinking about was how to, what to paint this kit, because you want to keep it like the movie. It's it's mostly black, nice security type droid. But I got some inspiration from Link. What's up, Treasure Chest? How are you doing? Yo, yo, yo. I don't think we've met you either before. How are you? Nice to meet you. Thanks for coming in and hanging out. We're snapping a Star Wars K2SO from Bandai. And later on, I can go back and re-show the Quedlin Row, which is done, back in the case at this point. Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to glue these, I think, so I can address that seam. There's quite a bit of a seam down each one of these legs. The crappy part about it is there's also some intersecting panel lines that go across that seam, so there's going to be quite a bit of touch-up here to clean that up and make sure it looks right. Once you sand the seam down, then you might lose your panel lines a little bit, so you got to rescribe a little bit. When are we getting Legos, but they aren't cube shaped? When are we going to get Legos? I don't know. If you're asking me, I don't do Legos on this build show. Although I wouldn't be beyond doing that, but that's just another rabbit hole I don't think I need to go down. When are we going to get Legos? I don't know. You know what, though? There are some adult style kits. Like there's some nice cars and stuff like that. Like the Technique, was it Techniques, I think it's called? Or something like that. They look like Legos, but they go together like Legos, but they're really complicated kits that, for adults. Definitely not for kids. But, all right. Enough talk. Let's go here. Moving on. A28. 29. Where's 28? Where are you? Over here. Give me the slime that shapes itself. Nice. What the hell's 28? Oh, it's a glass piece. Okay, I'm sorry. That's why I didn't see it. I'm looking at. That's interesting. I don't even know what this glass piece is for. It's part of the knee, or part of, no, it's part of the hip. But why a glass piece? I don't know. Do you remember that on the K2S? I don't remember that. On the knee joint? I wonder why they made it a clear piece. Interesting. Uh-oh, George is here. What, did I miss him? Oh, there he is. Just popping in. I looked down for 1 second and almost missed it. So, George, I was talking about IPMS earlier because some people have been asking me about the Quinlan Row and whether or not I'm going to take it to IPMS. And the answer is yes, but I went over the category list for this show this year. And if you're interested, what's up, Angel? Do you find mechanical learning skills interesting? In my mind, I see a connection, but I'm curious if someone else does. I'm crazy. Oh, what's up, Kodokai? How's he doing? Pro Builders in the house. Mr. Brian Denclo. Let me see. Let me put this on screen first, and we'll. You find the mechanical learning skills interesting? I suppose. I mean, but I've been building a lot of these kits for quite a few years, so some of it can get really interesting. But you keep some generic Lego style bricks in the bins for doing custom work. Oh, right. If you can do casting and stuff like that, yeah, I guess it would be good to have some Legos on hand for that, especially, yeah. Styrene can be glued in place, makes for a solid connection. Oh, that's true. I've seen that done before with some of those single peg Legos or something like that, or just the double peg ones. Young guy Mikey, what's going on? G1's in here. How you doing, man? Good to see you as well. Hey, Brian, are you streaming tomorrow? Missed your show. Yeah, are you streaming tomorrow, Brian? Anyway, getting back to this, I was going to answer this one. Do you find mechanical learning skills interesting? In my mind, I see a connection, but I'm curious if someone and also does it if I'm or if I'm crazy. Well, in my job is very technical, and a lot of the cars I work on are kind of like Legos. They come apart the same way, they go together the same way. So I don't know if that kind of I get a little more. What's it called? What's the word for it? Not numb to it, but it's like, what am I looking for? It's desensitized, I guess, to it a little bit. So, bam, wham, kazam. What are we talking about? Oh my goodness, you guys are talking too fast. I can't keep up. I'm seeing. I'm going to go back here and get rid of that one. I guess it's careful what you ask for, because nobody was talking, and I said, "Hey, everybody, start! Tell what's going on." And next thing you know, I'm just flooded with comments. What do you find in engine something interesting to break down and build? Well, yeah, physically it kicks my ass, but yeah, sometimes it's I mean, you do it over and over again. It's all about repetition in my industry. So um, that can be. I mean, this to me is an outlet. It's more of of a a way to decompress from the day's work. So I mean, but technical builds, yeah, like especially like the YOLO Park Optimus Prime. I mean, you talk about a complicated build. I mean, but super amount of articulation and just crazy amount of parts that all move together in sequence and stuff, like just to bend the arm, you to see all these pieces moving in unison. It was really cool. But yeah, those are kind of fun, especially it keeps your brain working. But yeah, definitely it's not so much so I don't even know, maybe I haven't answered your question. I don't know. I do like the technical stuff, but on the other hand, sometimes I like simple stuff, when you just need something just to go together easy and not worry about it, especially if you've done a big complicated build, just finished one or something like that. It's nice to have something to just decompress on. It's 100% scratches the the go-go juice makes an appearance. oh, I see. You're talking about this. Yeah, wine with wine. My last name's Wine, so I might as well have some wine while we're doing the broadcast, right? Which builder is essentially a troubleshooter? Even drawing is troubleshooting. My main question is why was to dig into your creative mind? Well, if I've been drinking wine, I don't know if you're going to be able to dig that deep, because anyway, George, are you still here? I want to talk to you about IPMS. I want to see if these categories are very similar to your categories. So tell me if you're here, George, and we can talk about this. This again, you're wrong. What am I wrong about? Comes out with more wine. You're drinking Bud Lights. All right, well, that definitely makes us different. I do not do Bud Light. Still here, of course you are. I knew you were, George. I just wanted to see your face pop on the screen. So, I want to get into like the military vehicles, and how they're listed on your IPMS chapter. How they, what categories we have on this one here. It says 135 and larger, closed top through 145. Well, I know that means anything 1945 and prior, but closed top meaning what? Tanks or vehicles with a roof on it. That's what I'm wondering if that's the way you guys list yours there. And then they've got 135 and larger, open top, AFV, half tracks, self-propelled guns, stuff like that. So it's just like, I was trying to figure out what category to even put my tank into, the Abrams, and I'm thinking it has to be 135 and larger, closed top after 1945, if I'm correct. So I'm so on your side. All right, Treasure Chest. So, but also I could break down the Gundam categories too, which they have nicely made notes on what what's considered modified and what's not considered modified. So for Gundam, we've got 144 unmodified, and then custom 144, then unmodified 1100. We don't get that granular for Pedcon, but you are correct. Abrams is closed top. Okay, so I was reading it right as far as what category, and then it talks about vignettes and dioramas. Okay, and so it says a diorama vignette, all scales. A diorama is two or more models relating to a story, right? That we knew that. Let me see what it says about vignettes, if it does at all. I'm trying to figure out. Well, that would be, that was the first page. So, okay, best. So Yeah, it just says it's 2 or more models. So the tank wouldn't necessarily be a vignette because the 2 crew members that are on it are perfect. No worries, totally understand. I hope things mellow out for you then. Who are we talking about? I'm not even going to worry about it. You guys are talking amongst yourselves. So I know the Super Jerry would be a vignette because that's only really one kit with a figure. It's not 2 models. So it has to be 2 separate models. I guess that's what that means. So sci-fi vehicles, aerospace test beds. We already talked about space fact. Those are like rockets and things like that. And then automotives and ships I'm not worried about. All right. Well, I guess the tank would probably go into it's not going to go into a vignette category. It's just going to go into the closed top category. So Gundam. All right. All figures. Yeah. No, it says like horses and riders, mounted, dismounted, single figure, 2 figures on a base or a diorama. So they do specify that. So even though you've got, but then that's why I was like, well, I got 2 figures on the tank, right? The 2 crew, is that considered a diorama at that point? That's where I'm going to have to ask them. They probably put it in regular tank category, the armor, but there's no specific armor category either. But it does say mounted or dismounted are a single figure, 2 figures on a base or a diorama. So I've got a tank and two crew members. So does that mean it's a diorama? So anyway, I'll have to get with them in April and figure that out. So we've got, like I said, unmodified and modified 144, unmodified and modified 1100, and then all other scales, all other gunpla, and then a mecha category. Mecha is any non-Gundam or non-mecha model entries. What did it say at the end here? It talked about, okay. It talked about what is unmodified. Okay, even scribing is considered modified on this chapter. So I don't know how Patriot is. I'd ask about vignette or diorama. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do, George, is ask them on the day of the show. I was trying to just fill out my entry forms earlier and put the right category numbers on, but I'm going to have to wait on that until I know exactly what category it goes into. But they're saying that anything other than just paint or decals is considered modified. So even if you scribe extra lines, that's modified. Any kind of plot plate, of course, and that's considered modification. But so I don't know how similar that is to your rules over there in Patriot as far as like scribing what's considered modified or what's considered not modified, or whether or not you even break down those subcategories essentially. So anyway, that's where we're at. Let's snap some stuff together here and see if I can keep an eye on the chat. It doesn't get too far away from me this time. So I've got these clear pieces. I'm not exactly sure why they're going in the leg, but I guess we'll find out. At PatCon, we had broken out of box and customs. We'll be changing this year. Okay. Yeah, I guess they're calling it unmodified, but it's essentially out of box. I think it's what that means. Because the only thing you can really change up is the paint scheme or, adding, additional decals or something like that. But that's it. B18. Well, that's rather large. But that's all. That's all I wanted to talk to you about. So I'm just snapping together the K2SO. For those that may have come in the last 10 minutes or so, because the Max Battleroid is in the paint booth, and I can't do a whole hell of a lot with that right now. I would assume same. Yeah, no, you're right. I wasn't questioning whether or not out of box was considered unmodified. They're just calling it unmodified rather than calling it out of box, because I think they think, out of box is they're also, going further into detail, just saying basically unmodified is, you can change a paint scheme, but that's it. But as soon as you add a scribe, then it's modified, even if it's just one. So, they even say in their little thing here, they encourage people bringing their own, the instruction booklet, so it can be verifiable as far as whether or not it has been modified or not. Will you be volunteering to judge? I don't know. I don't know. I think to be quite honest, I've gotten out of touch as far as like judging goes, because there's so many new Gundam kits. A lot of times, I mean, even I was missing stuff. Like I didn't realize what had been modified and what wasn't. I had to have other people kind of telling me, hey, did you see this, or what, this was changed, or this was completely scratch built. I just didn't know. I didn't know what I was looking at. So, I mean, I could help, but I did a couple of years ago. In fact, the last one before COVID, I did volunteer or help judge at for some of the Gundam categories that I wasn't entered in. Like most of my stuff was all master grade. So I was doing a lot of the 144 stuff. But it was nice because we were there to help the IPMS judges know, like, hey, this is different. This is worthy of more, a second look, because they didn't know either. They were struggling to know. It's like, what makes this so special? Why is this, what makes it stand out so much? I mean, if somebody paints something nice, it looks nice, but they don't know what the work that went into it. Bring a manual with the experienced judge that would be needed some way. It's not needed for other categories. Yeah, I think they're primarily saying that, and it's only listed in with the descriptions of the Gundam categories. I think that's because even they, wouldn't know without somebody like myself or somebody that's an experienced Gundam builder. They wouldn't know what was modified or what wasn't. So you could put something on the table in front of them, and they were like, "Yeah, okay, it's fine. It's unmodified." When it has like a million new panel lines on it, but they should know because they don't. They don't have experience with that genre or that model in that category. I mean, they basically used us. The volunteers were just mostly there to help the actual IPMS member judges that were there. They just needed us to kind of guide them along and tell them that this is why this is why this model should be. So it just goes in the middle like that. This is what we told them. This is what we think is number one, number two, number three, because they don't score every single model. When there's so many on the table, they'll go down and say, okay, out of how many judges, whether it be 3 or 4, they'll just say, all right, what's your top 3, and then why, and then if there's any, if everybody's in agreement, then it's pretty simple. But if you're not, then they got to talk about it. Okay, Joe over here says that this kid is his number one because of this, and this. And then, but this guy says the same thing about this other kid. So then they go back and forth and talk about it. That's why we were there, so we could help them. And actually, 32 and 33, help those discussions along, and so they could come to a decision as a group, when the judges get together like that. So. And most of the time, it was pretty cut and dry. I mean, but last year it's kind of a clusterfuck, because the tables were The tables were all over the place. The categories were spread around where they should have been next to one another, but they were just all over the place. So you had a hard time first. Usually you go down the line like, okay, there's 701, 702, whatever the category numbers are. You'd think the tables would be in line, and you just keep walking until you find your number. But there would be like one here, and then you'd have to go 3 tables over to find the next one, and it just made it very difficult to figure some of that stuff out. It was like, why is this like this? It was a challenging, quite a bit challenging. All right, so putting together, I think this is the knee joint. Oh, okay, now I see why they did it that way. All right, that's a trip. Okay, so this little glass piece that I put in the middle here, I didn't realize that the inside of this is part of the knee joint. This inside is actually splined. So now, as you put these 2 pieces together, now you can feel each little notch as you bend it. That's a cool feature, because not only is it going to hold better, but it also helps you for posability, because you have some feedback there. When you bend it, you can feel it. Those little notches, you can tell. It just feels right. So I'll put this back on. Yeah. This is directional. I do have to pay attention a little bit here. I disagree about the race to bottom. Many chapters do try to do it right. What do you mean, race to bottom? I have so many questions, but we'll table that for another time. Yeah, I understand. What's up, David? How's it going? Oh, wait. Oh, Brian's saying IP misjudging is race to the bottom most of the time. Yeah, what do you mean by that? Can you guys explain that to me, what that means? Does that mean like you're just in a hurry to figure out who's, is that what you mean by that, Brian? Because some of the ones that won in the other categories last year were it was just very questionable in my eyes. It was like, why did this one win again, and why did this one not? And I think, like to George's point where he's saying, volunteer somebody that's experienced, because they obviously missed quite a few things if that's the stuff they were picking as winners, because they just did not see what I saw. So anyway. 8:30. I thought these legs were going to be pretty quick to go together, but there's a lot of little tiny parts, all this stuff. But like I said, I'm at a point with the Bataroid. I was going to try to do some priming on it yesterday and the day before, but it just didn't happen. I finished going back over and re-flat coating the Quedlin row. So that's as far as I got. This weekend I've got a 20th. Gotta make sure this goes together right. 20th anniversary party for our the winery that we are partners with. I think that's how that goes. Yeah, that's it. Gosh, I just can't tell. No, it's got to be face up. Okay. Yep, that's how it goes. Okay. It's almost hard to see in the picture, but there's a little notch that has to fit a certain way. Okay. Anyway. Gosh, my camera is like struggling to focus, isn't it? Seems like every time I move away, It kind of wobbles in and out of on the paper. But I really don't have any other place to put it. So it's going to sit right in front of me. So Brian, maybe you can elaborate on race to the bottom. If you don't want to. And if you don't want to, I don't care. But I'd be curious to know what am I missing? What does that mean? B44. So that's 42. Oh, no. Oh, there's 44. Was it what I was saying? Like, just take the top three and not even look at everything else. That's what I was curious about. Maybe whether or not that was what that means. To a degree, George, I am under the impression that it is a recent change due to the pushback from the community. Could be because we know that the IPMS president put his foot in his mouth last year, so there might be some pushback from that for sure. But I think for the most part, the individual chapters are trying to do the right thing. They just need some guidance to be, keep moving in the right direction. So, they are becoming more and more accepting of the Gundam community as legitimate categories. Especially, it looks like this year with all the descriptions on, and I think, like I said, most of that's probably for their own benefit. Is like, this is what is modified, this is what is not. So they know as judges, like, if you're judging this is what you have to look for. I will probably see if they need me to help judge, but it's like you were saying this morning. You sometimes you just want to go and be a customer. You want to. Last year I tried to do a live stream. I was having trouble in the building, but then I found out their Wi-Fi password, so I was able to do a little bit of a live stream. But yeah, sometimes, like even last time I went to SCGMC, as soon as I walked in the door, everyone's like, "Oh, you're going to help us judge, right?" And I was just like, "You know what? No, I just want to be a customer. I want to be able to walk around and take photos and do some shopping, go to the bar, I want to be able to just do these things, and not want to have the obligation. I have to be a certain place at a certain time and burn half my afternoon judging a bunch of model kits. So it just depends. It depends on the mood. Sometimes you want to do it, and then other times you're like, you know what, let somebody else do it this time. I'm just gonna relax and do my own thing. So we'll see. Got about a month. It's at the end of April. We'll see. Between Brian and Mike, it is more a recent change during. I'm going to put this on screen. It's more a recent change during to a more forward-thinking national e-board. Yeah, chapters having a Gundam. More gaming members. Yeah, that's true. I guess if you get more. A diverse group of people on the board, that would certainly help push things in a different direction, and maybe even create some understanding. Top 3 and limited time frame. Yeah, that's what it boiled down to. I mean, even SCGMC kind of had to adopt a little bit of that same excuse me, had to adopt a little bit of that same type of thing, because I'm trying to figure this leg out here, because there we go, because there's just so many models, you can't possibly score them all in the time frame that they have allotted for it. It's just impossible. So you just got to go, okay, XYZ, Judge, you tell me your top 3 and why, and you tell me your top 3 and why. So in that respect, the even the CGMC is adopted that little bit of that IPMS type judging as far as just narrowing down the field before they make a decision. Old grievances. I'm glad for the change. I'm still going to attend local. Yeah, of course, absolutely. I'm still going to do it. Yeah, I think the big thing was a friend of mine. It was his first contest, and he was doing an out of box, and he did he built a great kit. So I think his expectation was I'm going to go in and do really well or whatever. And then he ended up not even placing, and it was just kind of like, what happened? He kind of got deflated by that. And I was hoping he didn't get discouraged because it really was just the first competition. So, I was kind of bummed for him. He felt like he did a lot of work, and God, these are some skinny legs. Look at that thing. Let's see, what's Brian talking? Whoops. Sorry, I meant to hit that one. One part of the show, hanging with friends, making new ones. Yep, that is true. I met some good people there, especially, as the YouTube channel and people get to know me and my work and stuff like that too. And then you see some of those people that have been on the shows or following me and meet them in person too. Yeah, that's pretty cool. It definitely is a cool part of the whole deal. So I kind of jumped ahead of myself here because I just wanted to put this leg together before I got the foot done. But anyway, got a couple more pieces on it, and then we'll go. Go on to the next part. That's right. You're driving to Mosquito Con this year. Nice, hanging out with Region 2 boys. Okay, and girls. I do prefer the events like my own club. Oh, in Philly. And a sister show, MMSI Chicago. Okay, very cool. Haven't heard it. Yeah, have you, Brian? Have you gone to SCGMC? I can't remember if you made it down there one year. I thought you did. Yeah, Wonderfest seems like something I'd like to go see. That's pretty crazy. That's like where Matt Morozic, he goes to Wonderfest all the time and just cleans house. It's crazy to see how much he actually donated a prize, I think, this time for. He had so it was something. It was like something It was like a resin. It was like best resin or something. That he donated a prize for it because it was basically for the best resin kit or best finished resin kit. A31. Gosh, there's just some tiny parts. Heck yeah, George, see you there. Blah, 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 blah. Awesome, Brian, can't wait. Miles away. Yeah, sometimes we do. Sometimes we go crazy distances just to get what we need. Get that fix. Get that plastic, like you do. Sorry, did Brian say? Oh, I guess not. Figures and minis, huh? It's funny how certain sections or certain regions get their own, just popularity of certain categories over another one seem to vary depending on what part of the country or what state. But yeah, up here in Washington anyway, still a rather pretty young group of builders. There are a few really seasoned veterans that painters that paint really well and everything like that. But then I think a majority of the members of the Facebook page typically are a lot of snap builders, and that's fine too. It's all about teaching the younger guys and the ones that want to expand their abilities and stuff like that. That's what it's for. But I do see a lot of just assembling kits, assemble. We typically make things. I mean, I remember when I was first back into building Gundam kits, I was turning out one a month, and that was painted. It just seemed like I could turn out one a month. But then I started getting more complicated as far as like modifications and painting techniques and stuff like that, and so it's longer and longer and longer. And pretty soon now it's like 2-3 months at best. Fred Brew, Northwestern MD, close to the PA line. Rest of the squad: Pavs, Julio, Kyle, and Z went to SCGMC. I'm the oh no. So you didn't make it, huh, Brian? I remember seeing Julio and all those guys there. I just don't remember. I didn't remember if you'd made it that year. That was the year I brought the 120 Gerwalk. So I was getting peer pressured into finding a way to fit that in a suitcase, and I pulled it off. But yeah, it wasn't fun. So B45, there it is. Gosh, why does there have to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pieces just to make a foot? I don't know. Thanks, Star Wars. Thanks, Bandai. But you know what? I'm actually dying though to see what Bandai does with the Kotobukiya line. Not the Kotobukiya line. I didn't mean that. The Bandai does with the Armored Core series. Because I know Kotobukiya makes some pretty nice looking Armored Core kits, but they're just seam-erific, right? Seams everywhere. Seams everywhere. But it'd be really nice to see Bandai's technology on one of those kits. So I'm kind of really dying to see what that turns out to look like. Because that I might actually put some money down for. So I'm almost burned out on the Gundam stuff for the most part. I mean, I still have a ton of kits, and I'm sure I'll build some more later. But it's just I've had more inspiration elsewhere. Washington has an amazing modeling community, from what I've seen. Yes, you're right, George. They are. And like I said, more and more guys preach the customizer struggle. Yeah, that's true. I know, right, Brian? Like I said, you used to be able to smash out a kit in no time, and now it's like, oh my gosh, I got to do this, or I have to do that, or I got to scribe some more, I got to do this, whatever it is you're doing to it, and it just adding, electronics or whatever. Like me with fiber optics, I couldn't just build a kit. No, I got to add wiring and fiber optics and LEDs, and then pretty soon you're like, okay, how long did it take to make this thing? Although the Super Jerry did go together pretty easily, pretty quickly, considering what was done. But I contribute that to B16. Oh, there it is. I contribute that to just forcing myself to do a little bit of work every week, so I would have something new to talk about on the live stream. So it just helped speed things along a little bit. I'm still just cutting parts out for this foot. I think I've got them all. B20. Yep. 20. I got 21. What's up, Voidbringer? How you doing, man? Hit the like button for the algorithms. Yeah, thanks. Keep saying it, buddy. I appreciate it. Every time you come in here, you say that, and I certainly appreciate that. That's right. Get on the YouTube, man. Smash that like button. Hit that little bell. That way we'll keep the algorithm going. Keep the algorithm going forward. All right, let's sand some nubs off here. Oops, I need a little bit. That's the 320. That's a little not aggressive enough. Something with some bite. There we go. See, Voidbrand, he's got it. He's got it dialed in. Chilling with you, always a good time. Thanks, man. It's likewise. You know what? I appreciate each and every one of you. I try to remember to say that every show. But yeah, I wouldn't have a show without you guys. I wouldn't have a broadcast without you guys. And I almost was trying to think if I wanted to bring somebody in as a guest just to make it a little more interesting tonight, because I wasn't doing anything with the diorama. So I thought, well, maybe I should bring in a special guest, but I didn't plan it. I didn't have the time to put it together or find out who was available. So maybe next week, we'll see. Let's see what happens. Maybe I can convince one of you knuckleheads to come on here with me for an hour and a half. And I can play, moderator on the live stream, which I have done before. Back when, even those Gundam guys were doing theirs, I did a little bit of that, moderating those live streams. Not much. Most of the time it was Clem or Angel. Did a cruise doing that, but there we go. B17. Trying to figure this out. Okay. But yeah, it'd be fun to have a guest on here every now and then, wouldn't it? You make my Wednesdays, Mike. Aw. You're too kind, George. Too kind. Yeah, it's the middle of the week. It's a little hump day. I mean, I remember before I was doing this on, was it Sundays, was it, when I started? I was trying to do this on Sundays, and I just got to the point where my wife was like, you know what, I barely have enough time with you as it is. And so we decided to change it up, and that goes down there. Okay, there we go. Decided to change it up a little bit and do it on Wednesdays, middle of the week. Oh wait, I am missing a piece. 21. There it is. I knew I was missing one. All right. B chapters in Baltimore, Stevens City. Not sure how close they are to you. Oh, I don't know. I think it would be fun, like for myself, to go visit you guys. I know you guys are talking about coming out here, but it'd be fun, I think, to like just roll into an IPMS show that George is at, not even knowing, just like, what are you doing? I'll just roll in, crash that party. I think that would be fun. All right, now I got all the parts to the foot, I think. Okay, so I got to put, good God, this together. I don't know how you do 144 or 172 tanks all day long, George. These parts are freaking tiny, man. I'm having a struggle here. Baltimore is pretty close to me. Oh yeah, about 45 minutes. That's not bad. I've driven further for a show. Okay, so that goes like that. And then this goes like this. I think, yep, just like that. And then this goes like this. So this guy's actually got a foot that bends. If you look at the, let's see here, the toes actually bend up and down, which is kind of cool for such a small kit. And there's even an ankle joint. All right, so now we can pop this on. There we go. So there's the ankle. Ankle moves back side to side, and we got the toes. Bend the toes. The knee. Like I said, each part of that knee has like a little bit of a ratcheting mechanism in there, so it actually makes it stiffer. It's crazy. I'm not sure why they went with the clear unless that's supposed to be hollow in the cannon or whatever, but I don't remember if that was a hollow ring, the joint. I'll have to check back and watch the movie again just to see. So now we're on to the left leg. Yahoo! That only took an hour and 15 minutes. Good God. But we did a lot of talking. And I was sharing stuff on the Quaidland Row in the beginning, and we were talking about ITMS. So not that bad. Not a big deal. I believe the entire Build Sideways pod crew will be at MMSI Chicago in late October. Very cool. Yeah. So when am I going to be a guest on that show, Brian? Just wondering. Asking for a friend. No, not really. I'm just messing. But yeah, that would be fun. I think it would be fun to be on there, but you tell me, man. I love all you guys. Pabs, all those guys. All those guys are awesome dudes. I haven't been back home in many years. I've been thinking about it. Oh, okay. Great minds think alike, I guess. So that's cool. It'll be 6. I still don't know why I cut these in half, the runners, but I think it's because when I was reboxing the model up, I didn't want to damage the torso that I had put together already. So I just cut the runners in half, and it's making it kind of confusing because half of them are on one and obviously half on the other, and so I don't know which side to grab when I'm looking for a specific part. I prefer smaller scales. Yeah, I know. And you've said that quite often about George, about liking smaller scale stuff, and for some of it, yeah. This is still 1/12 scale, but for the size of the kit, there's a lot of small parts on this, and I'm struggling. I just don't do. I guess maybe it's because the last few I've done have been larger scale stuff, so including the resin tomahawk, that was massive. And then of course I've got the resin gouge, which is also 172, but that's going to be really big on the table when I'm finally getting down to building that thing. That is another discussion for another day, because that kit's going to be an interesting one, especially because I got to bake the damn thing. I got to post-cure some of the resin parts to make sure they're strong enough. There we go. Get in there. All right. Don't forget that you and I are giants, Mike. We can't help. And we're so I don't know what you mean by that, Brian. I don't consider myself a giant. What do you mean? What does that mean? You mean as far as like popularity stuff? Is that what you're talking about? Pillars in the community, pillars. I like small G1, but they have to be visible. Small G1. What does that mean? Am I missing stuff? Sometimes the abbreviations are throwing me off. Like, am I missing stuff, or am I just that stupid? This week, I've been struggling with just dumb stuff. Like, even at work, I was doing something really stupid. I mean, you guys have heard the phrase righty tighty, lefty loosey, right? In my industry, it's like, fasteners go on one direction and they come off the other direction, right? And I was trying to disassemble an engine, and I'm just like, oh, this bolt's getting tighter and it's not coming out. And the guy looks at me and he goes, well, that's because you're tightening it. I just got so turned around because I was trying to get a different angle on this thing and trying to keep the little stand from moving around, and I ended up just pulling the wrong direction. And I'm like, this thing's getting tighter. And he's like, yeah, because you're tightening it, stupid. And I was just like, oh my God. 6'4", 210-ish. Well, that's great. I remember being 210 back when I played hockey. Now I'm like pushing 285. Of course, probably this doesn't help. But it's so good. And the one thing I learned about myself is my dexterity isn't as good as I thought it was. Yeah, G1, I hear you. And it doesn't get easier when your eyes start going. Like when you get, my age, and George can identify with this too, probably. It's just like your eyes start getting worse and worse, and you're like, the parts just keep getting smaller and smaller. You're just like, what? That's why I wear these things. These are just 2 times, and most of the time I wear these. These are 2 times magnifiers for this. But if I really want to get up close and personal, I got these, the eye adjusters from Micromark. And these are adjustable. They'll go from 0.5 all the way up to 4 times. You turn the dials and the lenses move in and changes the magnification. So I can get all the way to 4 times magnification with those. It is the same size. And 1/72 scale model is pretty dang small. Yeah, you are correct. That is pretty small. Get yourself a barrage of tweezers. Well, I have the God Hand ones. These are great. I mean, I bought these from Galaxy Hobby. Unfortunately, they're no longer around. They closed. But these are God Hand tweezers, and man, you talk about precise. The way they come together, and they're just machined. They're beautiful, and I've used them forever. I wish that store was still around, because I have used these a lot, and they're starting to show their age, but they're still really, really great quality, especially for doing decals and stuff. Enough of that. We're almost done here, folks. We got about 5 more minutes maybe, and we'll call this one a session. So I'm going to see if I can get this knee joint together here before we finish up. Let's see. I need B31. Should be here. Where is it? Or not? Oh, over here. I think there's 32. There it is. Yeah, that glass piece is interesting. I'm going to have to go check out that movie again just to see if that knee joint on the K2 is open like that. It's just an open ring versus a solid knee joint. And I think that's why they probably did the clear piece, is just to make it look like it's hollow, even though it isn't. Okay, so that's the 2 that I need to start with. And then the other 2 is, yeah. Those are the A runner, so that's these guys over here. 32 and 33. There we go. No magnifiers, no modeling. Very good. You know what? You guys were talking about a T-shirt. Now I know you saw the "Don't build it, don't build it, own it" or something like that. Or anyway, the shirt, a sample that's on the AM Fan Chat. That's got to be another one right there. No magnifiers, no modeling. I'm serious. We gotta make a T-shirt out of that. That's awesome. Because it's so true. No magnifiers, no modeling. I like it. I think you just made a new T-shirt, George, and didn't know it. That's awesome. Right, a few more parts to clean up here. And I've already had dinner tonight, so it's going to be a nice mellow rest of the night for me. How about you guys? I'll get Richie on it. Yeah, totally, man. Because you got. If you haven't seen it, have you seen the one he put up on the AmFam chat already? He took your idea of, what you guys were talking about last time. I can't remember the phrase off the top of my head, but it's something about don't just build it, own it, or something. If I remember correctly. Anyway, that's what he's got a little example of that up on the Bad Cop No Donut shirt. All right. I'm sure the officers really love to see that one, don't they? I don't know, Brian. You got to consider your audience, I guess. Not sure they'll like it all that much, but hey, you know what? It's not for them, right? It's for us. All right, let's smooth out this knee joint. That's one thing about some of these parts, they got a nice mold line right down the middle, so it takes a little bit of extra to get rid of that. Down to the wire here, boys and girls. All right. So this needs to go right dead center. Oop, too far. There we go. This way. This side, this goes on this side. Again, I'm still not gluing anything. I'll go back and do that later. All right, got that together. We will continue this next time. Get rid of these nubs here. All right, boys and girls, let's go back up to the down look here. Here, look at this little tiny. Here's the Quaylen Row. No, not quite the one I finished. That's the old Bandai 144. Boy, this is a hot mess, man. This was back in the good old hand painted days. And boy, what a rough sanding job I did to get rid of these seams. Whew. Horrid. All right, let's see. Richie did good. I like the one too. Just quote him and pay him in royalty. Yeah, that's true. That's true. All right, boys and girls. Look, man, I appreciate each and every one of you. I say that. I hope I remember to say that every single time because I do. You guys really make this hobby special, and I'm glad you guys can come along this journey with me every single time. So, with that, we're going to call this one a night. And again, I can't say enough about all the support you guys have given me over this last couple of years. And let's see. Yeah, be good humans, be good humans. I say that. That's my catchphrase at the end of this show. Be good humans, treat each other with dignity, respect, whatever, even if they don't deserve it. Well, never mind. I don't want to get too deep. So, thanks again, George. Thanks again, Brian. Everybody else that came in, G1. Let's see, we got G1, yeah, Julius. Thank you. Going through here, I got Angel. Oh gosh, let's see, Angel and Treasure Chest over there on Twitch. Thank you so much. And what else we got? Yeah, is it G1 Angel? Yeah, oh, Nick. If Nick is still in the room, thank you for coming in. I appreciate you. See Jezzy as well, and my brother Dave from Together We Roll. And yeah, all right, guys. Thanks again for coming. I'll talk to you soon. Hopefully next week I'll have some primer, if not paint, done, and we'll get if I get enough of it done. I'm not sure yet, but hopefully I can get some, at least all the primer done, if not most of the paint, and then we can start cell shading the Max Battleroid, which should be fun because it was kind of unique doing the Quayland Road because all those curved surfaces, there's really no sharp edges on that kit at all. So it was a little bit different to kind of try to do that cell shading on a curvy type of a kit versus, the Gundam kit that I practiced on had a lot of those flat surfaces and facets, and it was easy to see like this is a shaded edge where this one's not. It was a lot easier to see that. So I should be able to do the same thing on the Max Battleroid. So it'll be fun to catch all that. Anyway, thanks again, guys. We'll see you next time. Peace out. Be good humans. And let's bring up the end of the show.